what people don't realize is adding things isn't going to necessarily solve your problems if the problem is deeper.
I love bookkeeping.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for listening. Today, we're going to be talking about something that actually might be more beneficial for your clients, but it will really help your clients love you. And that is saving your clients money. Melissa, I obviously have lots of questions for you about this because I feel like since you're the business owner and you're a successful one at that, I feel like you have a lot of good tips for those who are listening.
So I will not confirm or deny whether I'm a good business owner, but I will say that I am cheap AF. And I feel like I'm really good at saving money and I'm really good at, giving my clients the tools on how they can save money. So I can admit to that in my frugality, that is beneficial to my clients.
Cheap AF. We should name the episode that.
That
is,
sure. Yes.
That
being said, I am holding like a $55 lipstick. If anyone has heard about the Tom Ford lipstick. So I would like to also just say you still need to treat yourself. But you can treat yourself more if you limit your expenses on other things that are unnecessary.
Exactly. I feel like everybody has their thing that they like to spend a lot of money on. So that totally got off on a tangent with Tom Ford right there. Sponsor us if you want.
Please.
That would be lovely. So just straight out the gate, do you consider your prices to be more on the higher end or kind of the medium, lower? Like how would you say you would identify your prices?
My pricing is commensurate with my value for sure. And I'm extremely valuable. And I absolutely love the analogy that you need to be like organic raspberry prices. Because if, organic raspberries are like $9.99 for 6 ounces, then you can charge your worth. And that is like everything that I go into with that thought. We are priced higher than an average bookkeeping firm, but we're not an average bookkeeping firm. And I think that it really comes down to going above and beyond. And also, just constantly proving your value. And the best way to do that is to save my clients money elsewhere. Whether that be, them minimizing their expenses. How many times have you had a client where they were paying for a software they stopped using 2 years ago and they didn't even realize that they were still paying for it? Things like that. And then, keeping on track of tax trends so that you can keep an eye on, categorizing transactions so that you can minimize their tax liability. Keeping track of how much they're paying themselves. Are they an S corp? Should they be? If they become an S corp, you just save them like $8,000 to $12,000 the first year. There's all these little tips where you can have a toolbox of, how to save my client money tips. And that right there, that just paid for yourself essentially. So, you can definitely be on the higher end of pricing if you have the tools to be worth that pricing.
And you just listed off some really great examples. So do you have any more examples or kind of categories that are some areas where you can save your clients money? And then in turn, are there certain things that you just absolutely should not cut corners on?
That's a great question. My favorite thing to do is an expense audit. I always like to say that you need to look at what your clients are buying and kindly judge them. It's just such an easy thing to do. Like you don't need to know anything about taxes, right? You just need to be like, what is this? Why are you paying for it? That's expensive. Just doing an overall expense audit. What are they paying for every month? And asking your client, is this necessary? Like really and truly, especially now, if your client is not having money problems, like this might not be, the biggest issue that they have, but it could still be something, it could still be $50 a month adds up, right? $50 a month, you're talking $600 a year. That's $600 they could have in their pocket. So I think everybody, you don't need to have any type of tax knowledge. You don't need to have any certifications to, go into their account, print off their profit and loss report, look through each like item line by line and try to figure out, what could be better. How can they be more conservative with their pricing? When it comes to not cutting corners, I definitely would have to say it depends on what industry they're in. What I find people spend sometimes too much money on is education that they don't actually implement. And so I've seen a lot of clients on both sides, bookkeeping professionals and on the painting side, where they're constantly buying that new class, that new course. They're going to that new, business coach, that new event, that new everything. And they don't ever see the result in their finances because they're trying everything and implementing nothing. So that's a little bit more of a deeper conversation where I don't think that those expenses aren't worth it, but I think that they need to be implemented. So when I say that, I would rather my client implement a $50,000 course that they're actually going to implement, rather than buying 3 to 5, $5,000 courses that they never do anything with. So I think that when it comes to the knowledge is power, right? But only if you're going to do something with it. So I think that's a place where you shouldn't cut corners, but you need to make sure that you're really committed to it.
I think that's so huge what you just said about having all these shiny new things, but never implementing it. It's like, because I'm trying to think of a good metaphor on the fly here, but it's almost kind of like buying expensive skincare and never using it. It's like, I think you made such an excellent point right there that if you're going to buy those new things and classes and certifications, then implement them for your business to make more money.
And just to get on a slight tangent, if I have my biggest pet peeve, and it's not, and I know literally everyone listening is going to be like, ooh, this is me. When bookkeeping professionals constantly switch CRMs, y'all, it's not that. It is not that important. Look, your CRM could be a piece of paper, but imagine all the time that you've spent in switching CRMs. What is the return on investment in that? As somebody that has switched CRMs, and I wanted to slam my head into the wall the entire time. I've seen people switch CRMs. They go, I go from Monday to Dubsado to whatever the newest one is. It is such a diminishing return on investment. And that's the thing, is just getting a system in place. It might not be the best system, but if it does what you need it to do and it does it good, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be the best. It doesn't need to be the newest thing. But if it does what it needs to do, you need to stay consistent with it, and put all of your time and energy into making yourself better, your services better, the product better, whatever it is, spending time learning how to save your clients money rather than switching to a new CRM that you think is going to solve your problems. Because spoiler alert, it's not going to solve anything. It's actually going to cause more problems.
Well, and I think that's such an excellent point that you are bringing up, and that I might be going off on a slight tangent here, but I think a lot of the times I see business owners kind of get caught up in the bells and whistles of it all. And what's truly important is your processes, your profit margin, nourishing the relationships with the clients that you have. And I think we all tend to get caught up in this almost rat race of the latest and greatest, when really you could be saving money by just watering the grass where it's green. You know what I mean?
So much. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a really great point for saving your clients money, because I see this happen in the painting industry all the time. Oh, so-and-so has this new thing, or so-and-so has that new thing, or I'm going to switch CRMs, or I'm going to switch this. I want a separate proposal software outside of my CRM. And then I'm going to pay this person to set this all up. And then it never materializes a lot of the time, because what people don't realize is adding things isn't going to necessarily solve your problems if the problem is deeper. Like you said, there could be a process problem. There could be a motivation problem. It could be a sales funnel, like whatever it is, adding things to the formula isn't going to be the game changer that most people think it's going to be.
Today's show is brought to you by Keeper, the one app to run your bookkeeping business. Keeper helps you get faster client responses with your own custom branded QuickBooks integrated client portal. Finally, you can say goodbye to those pesky spreadsheets full of uncategorized transactions. Keeper also helps you catch those embarrassing coding errors before your clients do. And with Keeper, you can generate beautiful custom reports that your clients will absolutely love to read. To find out more, go to keeper.app. That's keeper.app. Mention I Love Bookkeeping to get 20% off your first 3 months. Again, go to keeper.app to find out more. Thank you for listening.
So, and I think this is a great segue into a question that I had for you. Do you have things that are unique to your business that you do to help save your clients money?
Ooh, yeah. Well, we do also have a tax department. So, I think that they are just angels sent from the heavens above because taxes are not my specialty. But, one of the things that, we did back when COVID first started specifically was to keep on track of current legislation when it was coming to, the PPP loans, the EIDL, the SBA loans. And that's something that we do continue to do, is being a part of, obviously, the painting industry and keeping on track of trends in the industry that we work in, but also on the side of bookkeeping, on the side of taxes and legislation, what is going to be, pertinent for our clients, and then keep track of that. So for instance, for those of you that don't know, the meals, deductions for this year, I believe it was last year and this year, it's 100% deductibility for meals. There's obviously some requirements to it, but that's something that my clients would have had no idea. And when it came time for filing taxes this year, those of my clients that don't do taxes with us, we still made sure to let them know, when we were talking to them, but a lot of their tax professionals didn't even know that that was an option and did not share that with our clients. So things like that, we're just keeping on track and just being as knowledgeable as we can and trying to share that, whether or not we're their tax preparer or not. One thing that we do, and I always say this in my, sales calls with people, is that we do offer tax preparation, but we do not require it. It is a benefit. Sometimes it's a curse. So sometimes I'm trying to talk people out of it. Like, whew, I don't want to do your taxes. You got 8 kids, 6 businesses, and, 4 ex-wives. I don't want to do your taxes. But one thing I say that sets us apart from others is that we play nicely with others. And so we will partner with our client's tax preparer. I always offer, send an introductory email. We can talk directly with them. If you don't want to be a part of that, it does not have to be the telephone game. And so that's one thing I can recommend to people is just, if you don't offer taxes, definitely become friends with all the tax people, right? Because the tax people need good bookkeeping. And then if you do offer tax preparation, do not see the tax preparer as a threat. Don't see them as competition. Look, just partner with them, because then they might be able to send other people to you, but also it's just in the best interest of your client. So if your client is happy with them, then you just be happy with them and you be there to help them in whatever way that you can. We're all here to be friends, and it really shows to your clients that you go above and beyond and that you actually care about them.
Yeah. So for anybody who's listening and has a bookkeeping business and want to start saving your clients money, what's a good first step that business owners can take in order to save their clients money, and in turn really going above and beyond expectations and helping your clients out? And you're almost kind of, I'm trying to find the right word, it's almost like you're developing this relationship with your client, and they really need you. It's like your client really needs you when you start going above and beyond and doing things like this for them. But what do you think would be a good first step for those who are listening to save their clients some money?
I think, I did mention the expense audit. I think in addition to that, implementing a receipt management software is a really great way, first of all, to, at an attempt to audit proof their books, right? And, give them a great, backup system. I think everybody should keep the receipts. Having them on the cloud is the easiest way to do that. But what I find is that when clients take pictures of the receipts, or especially when they have other purchasers, people with purchase power in their company that aren't them, that implementing that accountability, first of all, make sure that there's no, anything wonky or, on the, bad side of things happening. But it also is just like accountability to what you're purchasing, right? If you have to look at your receipt and see how much you spent on things, it is a great way for you to have accountability in your purchases and, reconsider what your purchasing decisions are. So I would definitely say doing a current expense audit, implementing a receipt management software where the client's going to look at the receipts, but you are also going to be looking at the receipts as well. Especially again, if there's anybody else that has purchasing power besides the business owner, I always tell them that they need to require receipts for every single purchase, and I will match those up and send a report. You send a report if there are any transactions for anybody else besides the business owner that does not have a receipt. And depending on your relationship with the business owner, maybe do that with them as well. And then last but not least, talking to them about creating a budget, sticking to the budget, maybe offer a service where, whether it be included or maybe you just charge a one-off fee where you enter that budget into QuickBooks Online. Having a budget in place is really important for businesses to keep track of their money ahead of time. I have so many. I keep going. We'll stop there.
I think the budgeting thing is huge
Yes.
because I feel like that's kind of a service that not everybody thinks of maybe first. And really that it's such a great thing to do because I feel like when somebody else is creating a budget for you, somebody who's an expert on finances and transactions and QuickBooks and things like that, I feel like maybe people would stick to it a little better if they had someone else kind of holding them accountable. I think that's huge what you just said about budget.
Yeah. And don't make it where they don't want to pick up the phone and tell you when they buy something. Just be like, hey, I'm your accountability buddy. This is just super cash. I'm your cool bookkeeper, not but it's one of those things where it's so easy. You could do it based on their, historical purchases. If you're looking at historical data, you could set it a zero-based budget based on, what they want to spend this year if they're trying to minimize their expenses from the previous year. One thing that we have created is a painter's zero-based budget spreadsheet that we share with our clients as well. And so we actually have a budgeting spreadsheet that they can use as a tool for their own budget. Because right now we're not offering, do it for you budgets or advisory on budgets. So in place of that, because of our capacity, we do have this calculator that's very easy for them to DIY. And what's really great is then it's a conversation with them internally. Right. And it's something they can talk to. If they do have an account manager, they can talk to their account manager about their budget, but not all of our clients choose to have a plan with an account manager. So this gives them the option, whether they're meeting with us regularly or not, to have a little bit more insight and a little bit more support on how to create that budget.
Yeah. I think that's so important. And I think that's such a great service that you can offer as a business owner. If you guys are listening and you have questions, concerns, or you want to share the way you help your clients save some money, please shoot us an email at success@ilovebookkeeping.com. Again, that is success@ilovebookkeeping.com. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my friends working hard at keeping the books. You want to change your life, you want to grow that biz, it's not as hard as it looks. Be a money guide, a profit coach, step up your game and see